I'm going to attempt to explain a passage in the Mishnah that many find very challenging to digest and to understand. The Mishnah reads, Pirkay Avot, Ethics of Our Fathers, Chapter 1, Mishnah 5. Al tarbes sicha meisha, one should not hold excessive conversation with women. But ishtay amru, this is said of one's own wife, kavachomer, how much more so, be'eshes chaveroi, when you're talking to your friend's wife. And people challenge us with, is there something wrong with speaking to my wife, even excessively? So perhaps the Mishnah has to be read from the beginning of the Mishnah. In fact, this statement, al tarba isicha ma'isha, one should not hold excessive conversation with women, begins with the letter vav, which means and, thus connecting the statement to the statement preceding it. The Mishnah opens up as follows. Yosi ben Yochanan ish Yerushalayim. Yosi, son of Yochanan, the man of Jerusalem, Omer says, Yehiveischa pasuach l'revacha, let your home be open broadly. V'aniyim, and let the poor, b'nei veisecha, be like members of your household. Yosi, Rabbi Yosi, is enjoining us to have open homes. People should feel comfortable. The poor are like your household. People are coming and going and enjoying and eating. And as a host, it's your job to make your guests feel comfortable. And the most obvious way to do that is by making conversation. Now, the conversation you have with your guests to make them feel comfortable isn't the kind of conversation that's required for some technical outcome. It's the kind of conversation that's just for the sake of conversation, just to make them feel comfortable. In this context, says Rabbi Yosi, do not excessively hold conversation with women. You're going to have guests, men, women, and you're going to want to make them feel comfortable. And to do so, you're going to be conversing with them. But when it comes to holding these conversations of comfortability with members of the opposite gender, don't do so excessively. Be careful that your conversations are indeed making your guests feel comfortable, but not to the point that it crosses the line into a sense of intimacy. For what are conversations of intimacy? They're excessive. They're talking just for the sake of getting together and getting to know each other. That's what dating is. Just talk for the sake of getting to know each other. And therefore, says the Mishnah, when you are conversing with your guests to make them feel comfortable, make sure that when you're doing it with those of the opposite gender, there's still a sense of respect and appropriateness so that you don't cross the line between making them feel comfortable and going to the excessive level where you are now bordering into intimacy territory. And therefore, continues the Mishnah, this is true even of your own wife. The kinds of conversations you're having with your wife for the sake of building intimacy, that's meant to be private, not when there are guests in the house. You're going to have an open home and people are going to be coming and going, and that's beautiful and so wonderful. But make sure those excessive conversations between you and your spouse are held private, not when everybody's around. And certainly then, not with somebody else's wife.